How did you feel when you noticed that Israel was being targeted?
Yeah, so on a personal level, that was Thursday. I don't know what
Mm,
happened to me, but we all have, mood fluctuations, and
mm,
I'm no exception. And I'm not I'm not claiming some
mm.
prediction abilities. So
Yeah.
don't ask me how the future looks like, but that's a fact that and I want to share. But on Thursday late afternoon, my mood was very low, and there was
Mm,
no real reason for that. And I was not
yeah.
aware of the news. It was just on a personal level. I just didn't feel well,
Mm,
and I remember that I eventually went out in the evening, and I felt bad that I stayed in the hotel for a few hours instead of
mm,
enjoying Jerusalem harmonious and inspirational
mm,
vibe. And
mm,
when I
mm,
got back to the room, was probably by 10, 10 I think it was 10, 11. I started to check the news, and I knew that the um, the the attack on Iran was on the
mm.
cards. And
Yes.
okay, and I was
Yes.
like, okay, I'm prepared for missiles. I mean, you and other friends told me that I know you visited Israel in the past, and there was no sirens or anything like that. But this time may be different. Now we were not talking about Iran. We were talking about the Houthis, Hamas,
Mm.
which are Iran, as we know, but it's not the
That,
same
yeah,
level of threat.
that's right.
Okay.
That's right. You're perfectly right. But what I think we should do here at the moment is emphasize that Iran has been attacking Israel for 3 decades at least now via its proxies, and we should never miss an occasion. People see Israel as the aggressor now, but people must bear in mind that the Iranians have been attacking Israelis and Jews all over the world. We need to remind them of the attacks via their proxies in Argentina, at least two major
Yes.
attacks. And of course, they're sponsoring, supplying, and training of Hezbollah up in the north, and the Houthis in the south, and Hamas in the Gaza Strip. So we should never tire of saying that and reminding people that this attack on Iran was absolutely necessary. The Iranians have never hidden their genocidal intentions with regard to Israel. So I think this is something that we must always emphasize. And thank goodness that we're not in a situation which we were in 80 years ago, where the Jewish people didn't have the possibility of defending themselves. Now, let's continue. So, what was the mood like in the hotel?
Well, I think people were prepared.
Mm,
I noticed that every single guest had the app on their phone, and people knew
right.
what to do when the thing started. There
Yes.
was solidarity between the guests. The staff
Yes.
the staff, by the way, who are at least 80% composed of Arabs. Okay, if
That's
not more,
correct. Yes.
they were
Yes. Yes.
collaborating with us, so let's make it clear.
Indeed.
Okay,
Indeed.
they live in Israel, they have jobs, they have a contract, they can feed their families, so they are very, very on our side. Okay, so I want to express my gratitude for their cooperation with the guests. So
Certainly.
we were never like let down by the staff,
Mm,
even during the night. That
mm.
and most attacks happen during the night,
Yes. Yes. They
as we
were there
know.
for you. They were there for you.
They were absolutely helpful. So I want to highlight that. In terms of the guests, so we had, well, I encountered all sorts of guests. There was a large group of Germans,
That's
Jews,
correct.
G-
Yes.
German
Yes.
Jews, and
Yes.
there was also a good few who were attending a Kabbalah conference in
Mm,
a hotel not far from us. And then there were random individuals like myself who had their own personal reasons to
mm,
be in the country. And we all get along pretty well. And I think we even built some sort of community, as
mm.
sharing what you do during the day, what is your personal story. And
Right.
as days were passing, we were all saying, okay, so what's your plan? How
Mm,
do you intend to go back to your home country or wherever
mm,
you live? We even
mm.
exchange like some, personal contacts, and that atmosphere I think was helpful, because as much as we are aware of how it feels to be in Israel in that context, it's very difficult when it happens to you in person. Like most things, you can see it on social media, or friends can share what's going on in their personal lives. But when it is with you, it is with you. We know that, from many, many angles. So I think we create an important boundary between us, kind of support, we like a support function of each other, and that helped a lot. And there was humor, there was a place for fun, and that's, I think, something that probably we learned from Israelis, and we try to replicate it in our own way. So I think we all admire how Israelis or folks living in Israel deal with the situation. We probably have all friends living in Israel, and we were told this is how you handle the situation. You have to be conscious of what's happening, but at the same time, make sure that it's not overwhelming. And I think most people were very rational. I only saw one girl crying, and it was not at the beginning. I think it was something that started to be too much after, I don't know, 3 or 4 sirens. And most people were just trying to be reasonable, and I think they did it pretty well.
Right. Of course, we have many, many decades of experience with this type of thing. I recall the first Gulf War in 91, when the awareness of the missile threat was really driven home. Now, that brings me on to the next subject, the security protocols for visitors. Were they easy to follow?
Yeah, very much.
Right.
So the information is available in English. So for someone who is used to travel and go to different parts of the planet, it's not a mystery. Everything is very well lined up. What are the steps? What needs to be done in different situations? There was no room for mystery. So I think we're all prepared. The app is straightforward. It's always good, of course, to have a check before you use it, like with most apps. But I think I would say after the second or third siren, I was fully ready to use it, for a long time. I didn't want to, but it was very, very, very good. So I think we should all praise the state of Israel to provide us with an app that is so user friendly, and that we can all avail and start using it for our benefit. After arriving in the country.
Indeed. We've downloaded. We've had these on our smartphones for quite a few years now, and they're very useful. They give us a 10-minute warning and a pre-warning, and then we have the final warning, which gives us a minute and a half to go into the bunker, as it were, which isn't a bunker. What every Israeli house has since the mid-90s, by law, every Israeli house or apartment has to have these reinforced shelters incorporated into their house. What were your impressions about diving into the bunker the first time?
Yeah, let's be honest. Like at the beginning was a bit unreal, because you read those things. I'm not a big movie watcher, so I would relate more to books I read, especially like Second World War and things like that.
Yes.
I felt I was in some surrealistic situation. Now, what helped me a lot is that I have friends like yourself in Israel, and I see what's happening on a regular basis. So the fact that I was familiar with the situation, and it was not that strange, because I saw people taking photos from bunkers, people making videos in bunkers, people running to bunkers. people eating sandwiches in bunkers, so
Mm,
I thought,
that's
okay, if
right.
they could do it, why I cannot? So
Yeah.
that helps a lot when you normalize bizarre situations. Then you are more ready to respond, and you are less likely to freak out, because if you saw
Yes.
that happen with others, why you are not capable? If others did it and they have been doing it for a long time, what you think is now is happening to you, and you will be able to get out of it because others were successful because all they did was following the procedures. Now the bunkers, we had a bunker at the basement, close to the, just side by side to the parking lot. I think it wasn't that small. We were not exactly on top of each other, but I think it had all we need. I haven't heard
Mm,
any explosion. I know some people did in other parts of Jerusalem, so I never felt in danger, let's say.
mm,
But I was happy that the country is prepared to provide protection to the citizens and the visitors, because that's one thing that Israel does, that Israel cares about the civilian population. It would be good if the terrorists like Hamas who have the same mindset, but as we know, they use their own people as human shields, and that
mm.
all contributes to the number of victims that happens in Gaza. That's something I also want to say.
Yes.
But Israel
Yes.
has all the procedures in place. So if you are keeping an eye on your phone, the likelihood of something happen to you, it's small. Now, it shouldn't be
Mm,
underestimated. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't just sit down and let Iran develop their nuclear program, because as you just said, the sooner we act, the safer we will, and that's what we want. So it's good that we have the bunkers, but it's also better that the boys are doing their job. So I was proud that while I was there, our fellows were in Iran doing their things. And if I feel stressful, of course I felt some stress, but nothing compared to people who are flying jets in Iran. So
mm.
I was just running
Right.
to a basement.
Mm,
Is that stress? Yes, but
mm,
nothing like people like
mm,
healthcare workers,
mm.
soldiers, and people who are
Pales
putting
into
their lives at risk.
insignificance. It pales into
Yes,